Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about deception under the guise of religion. But before we start, I would like to introduce our member. First, we have Akbar Wibilio with study number 068 and Ahmad Nafi with study number 093 and Taskadafa with study number 095 and Sultan Isfahan with study number 170 and Alfi Avanda with study number 180 and Gilbert Johannes with study number 176. So, why do we choose this topic is because recently there is a lot of evidence that involve religions. People seems like too blinded by anything related to religion.
One of the cases in Indonesia, West Lombok, West Nusa Tenggara, a person called AF, also known as Walid Lombok, the head of the boarding school in Gunung Sari, has been officially named a suspect involving sexual abuse of multiple female students. The action reportedly occurred between 2015 and 2021. He is accused of using spiritual justification, such as promising to purify the victim's wounds or claiming that drinking his saliva would result in their children becoming enlightened beings. This case has just been revealed after the victims reported it to the police after watching a movie from Malaysia, Walid, and found similarities with their case. It is known that the culprit launched his action by calling his victims one by one to go to the classroom at night. As of now, at least 10 victims have been filed reports and believed there may be more who are yet come forward. Most of them are alumni from the boarding school. AF has been charged related to sexual abuse and intercourse with minors. In conclusion, what he did included public deception, where he lured his victims using mystical things as bait.
Kuburan gadis penjual gorengan Nia Kurniasari, 18, disebut-sebut mengeluarkan aroma wangi oleh para pelayat.
Kurniasari was a woman who passed away under tragic circumstances, and her death became widely publicized. Following her passing, her grave became a place where many people began to visit, performing prayers and rituals, believing that doing so would bring them blessings or good fortune. Over time, the phenomenon began to attract even more attention, and people started traveling from different regions to visit her grave, not just to pay respects, but also in hopes of receiving spiritual benefits. However, the situation escalated further when Kurniasari's house, specifically her bedroom, was opened up to the public. The room where she once lived was turned into an attraction, and it became a place where people paid to enter and offers prayers. This act of turning Kurniasari's personal place into a public attraction for tourists and religious pilgrims was controversial and sparked significant public debate. Following the popularity of Kurniasari's gravesite, local businesses saw an opportunity to profit from the influx of visitors. The grave and her home, especially her bedroom, were marketed as part of a tourist attraction. People paid a fee to visit these locations, with promise of spiritual rewards or good fortune. Some individuals believed that praying at her grave or in her room could bring them blessings or fulfill their wishes. The commercialization of these sites led to the creation of a business model that capitalized on people's faith and desire for spiritual gain. The house, which was once a private residence, was turned into an attraction where visitors could take photos, offer prayers, and even pay for special services, such as guided tours or rituals performed by local spiritual leaders. This action contradicts the teaching of Islam.
Warga Desa Rewoyoso, Pekalongan, Jawa Tengah terkena prank dengan sumber air yang dikira ajaib ternyata merupakan saluran air pipa PDAM yang bocor.
A very special and interesting incident occurs in Pekalongan, Central Java, Indonesia. An incident that illustrates how religious belief and mystical logic can blind people into seeing supernatural meaning in everything that happens. It all started because water started pouring out of nowhere, and everybody in the area thinks it's a weird thing. The water is very clean and not having any weird or bad smells. The news of the mysterious water spread quickly, and people from surrounding villages flocked to Pekalongan, convinced that it was divine blessing capable of curing illnesses. Despite the water being clean and odorless, they believed it was miraculous substance sent from above. This blind faith in the supernatural caused them to disregard basic logic, such as the possibility that the water might have a simple natural explanation. Instead, they jumped to conclusions based on their beliefs, ignoring any rational doubts. In reality, the water was simply the result of a leak from the local PDAM water pipes. Yet, rather than considering a logical explanation, people choose to embrace a supernatural narrative that confirms their pre-existing beliefs. This incident highlights how easily people can fall into the trap of magical thinking and confirmation bias, where the desire for a miracle blinds them to reason and evidence. Their refusal to question the situation and instead jump to mystical conclusions reveals how faith can sometimes cloud judgment and logic.
ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم.
Mystical logic, according to Tan Malaka, is a way of thinking that priorities spirits, sacred words, and supernatural powers over material and rational evidence. This logic does not require empirical proof and emphasizes that word or faith are sufficient to explain and control reality. The main characteristic of mystical logic include the absence of material evidence, total submission to supernatural authority, and the disregard for real cause and effect relationships. This pattern is reflected in deceptive religious practice, such as the sale of blessed water or the idealization of religious figures. The practice often promise miracles without scientific evidence, create emotional dependency, and replace social and medical responsibilities with supernatural claims. As a result, society is misled and remains dependent on individuals who exploit these mythical claims.
Oh, itu yang berbentuk apa nih? Ini yang kayak, oh ini kalung.
Pusaka or talisman are often believed to have special power that can protect their owner. In many cultures, objects like keris, amulets, and stone are believed to bring good luck or protected from bad energy. For the example, in some Southeast Asian culture, people believe certain stone can protect against negative force, while others believe swords like the keris symbolize strength and bravery. However, there are also those who take advantage of this belief. Some sellers make big promises about the power of these items, claiming they can protect you from harm or bring you wealth without any real evidence. They often use mystical stories or historical claims to make this object seem even more magical. While it's easy to fall into the attraction of this magical belief, it's important to think critically. True protection comes from our action, not from object. Instead of relying on mystical power, we should focus on practical solutions and take control of our life. So be aware of those who might try to profit
from this belief without offering anything real in return.
After examining the cases presented ranging from spiritual abuse in Lombok to the commercialization of graves and the belief in talismans, it is imperative to understand what Islam says about such practices. The first, reliance on amulets and talismans with a belief in objects having intrinsic power. Allah emphasizes that only He has the power to benefit or harm. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإن يمسسك الله بضر فلا كاشف له إلا هو وإن يردك بخير فلا رد لفضله يصيب به ما يشاء من عباده وهو الغفور الرحيم. If Allah touches you with harm, none can remove it but He, and if He intends any good for you, none can withhold His bounty. Surah Yunus, verse number 107. This verse underscores that attributing independent power to objects or individuals like talismans is incorrect and goes against the concept of Tawheed or the oneness of Allah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also said, "Man ta'allaqa tamimatan faqad ashrak." He who wears an amulet commits shirk. Narrated by Ahmad in Fatwa Islamiyah, page number 36. Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz explained, as for writing a surah or a verse on a slate or on a sheet and washing the writing with water and saffron to drink that water for the hope of gaining blessings, knowledge, wealth, good health, or the like, we have never heard that such was done by the Prophet for himself or for someone else. He neither permitted any of his companions to do so, nor did he give the permission to his ummah to do so, even though the needs for doing so are existent. His statement clarifies that relying on amulets or talismans, regardless of whether they contain Quranic verses, is a form of shirk, or associating partners with Allah, and Islam strictly forbids it. The second, prohibition of grave worship and excessive veneration. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, عن الحارث النجراني قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا وإن من كان قبلكم كانوا يتخذون قبور أنبيائهم وصالحهم مساجد ألا فلا تتخذوا القبور مساجد إني أنهاكم عن ذلك رواه ابن أبي شيبة. Know that indeed those before you used to take the graves of their prophets and righteous people as places of worship. So do not take graves as place of worship, for indeed I forbid you from doing that. Reported by Ibn Abi Shaybah. This hadith warns against turning graves into sites of ritualistic gatherings or attributing special powers to them, a practice that can lead to misguidance. The third, encouragement of seeking knowledge and avoiding blind imitation. Allah commands, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. Indeed, the hearing, the sight, and the heart, about all those one will be questioned. Surah Al-Isra, verse number 36. This verse highlights the importance of seeking authentic knowledge and not following practices without understanding their basis in Islam. Islam promotes a faith rooted in the oneness of Allah, or Tawheed, free from superstitions and unfounded practices. It is crucial to align our beliefs and actions with the Quran and the authentic teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as understood by the righteous predecessors.